two different robots working together in a partnership, I guess. Cool.
Alright, so the design brief, we needed to make a robot that worked for two different groups, just so we could like kind of collaborate and work together. So yeah, we came up with two different robots that could sort between colors and drop them off in designated areas and be able to communicate back and forth and pretty much just sort colors.
And the original idea was to have the one that would go to the edge and cry, to have that one go and help the other one sort, but the way that the timing worked out on it, we didn't have to have it do that, so we didn't have to get that far into coding.
Brainstorming. For physical and mechanical, we focused robot versus code focused robot. It's all code focused. Choosing a code heavy robot eliminated random Google searches. So basically, instead of copying like something that was already pre-built for us and we just had to copy it, and having two huge code already put in and having to randomly search on Google and all that good stuff to try and fix it, we would create our own. So we can keep fixing our own instead of having to keep searching for other stuff. The Rubik's Cube solver was our first semester project, and that never worked, so we decided not doing that again.
It was way too hard, and it constrained us to like that design because we didn't have enough of an idea on how to build a robot to actually like turn the cube. So this allowed us to do something extremely simple and code it ourselves.
On-screen ideas and games would be kind of like Computer Science 1, how we did Scratch on games on the computer. So it's pretty much going back to our basics, which we didn't really want to do. Sorting robot, we did projects before that had involved the sorting, which we liked the idea of it, we liked how it worked, so we just said why not. And then how to make sorting hard but not too hard, using distance to try and find objects and then placing it in different areas, and then how to pick it up and such, pretty much using a claw. We chose our robot design because it was code heavy, so I mean, lots of errors, but then there's more room for improvement. But we used pretty much the same basic build, but totally different coding. And those are our different videos.
Then do you want us to play those, or?
Pick one.
Motor problems.
And so this shows how the robot wouldn't move straight, and this was a problem that we didn't know quite why it would happen, but it did. And so it's on the return, I think it starts to turn a little bit. See, it turns a little bit like that, and we didn't know why it would do that, and so we had to start using lines at that point, because otherwise our robot would be all over the place.
Okay, so this is the code for the sorting robot, the one that senses the color and then goes and places it. Over here is which determines which color it saw and then where to place it. It's too big, so it's kind of blurry. Over here is where it tells which color it is, so it lifts up the gate and then moves forward and tries to find the color. It'll say the color up in here, which these are all sound blocks. And then these are all different variables with different colors. Down here is the communications part of it. So if we were returning, it would tell the other robot to like not move or that we're going to be in the zone. And now this is y'all's.
Yeah. So the code up here is for finding the block, and it's just pretty much one big if loop, like, and then it's just telling it if like it sees green, it turns, and then the whole time it's just doing this right here. It's tracing a black line, and it gets out of it once it sees something, or something's within like a certain amount of distance. And then
The code down here is placing the block, which is, again, a bunch of if loops. And we had a variable that was count, that every time it saw green, it turned and it would add one to count. So it would determine like which way to turn, because if it's like going back, if it's going forwards and if it goes forward and it finds something, it would keep going forward and wouldn't get at the red line. So we would have to make it so it could determine to go backwards or forwards. And then back to start over there is after it places it, it just finds its way back to the red line. It tells the other robot it's okay to go in the zone and get the block, and then it gets back all the way to the start and reruns the code again.
And so on the testing of the robot, pretty much from steps 1 through 4, that was us trying to see if we could do what we originally wanted, which was using a motor to see like, okay, I've gone this far and I need to go this far back, which again, you saw that the motors were not turning straight, and so we couldn't do that. And then at that point we were thinking maybe we could try doing like a stopwatch like thing and have it go forward for a certain amount and then go back for that amount, and again, same problem. And then around step 5 we switched to doing like a line based, which it wasn't what we intended to do, but it ended up working nicely for the code. And then to have it sort more than just one straight line, we had to have it start going into the other black lines. And then at that point, we had to get on to the bot that actually saw the colors, because we actually did the one that found them and then put them on the X first, and then we did their half next, which involved, it was a lot of like weird blips in code where it would like see green and then it would get stuck on the black line and not move, and we didn't know why. And so it was a bunch of just kind of like make sure that everything is outside of the loop or that it's before the loop, and just know that your variables are reset at the end of the code. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. And then the past 2-3 days, we worked on getting the Bluetooth to work, and that surprisingly worked really well. Like, it was like immediate. After we got the code to work on it, it started to work very nicely. And then last class, our robot stopped seeing the color blue. So don't know what that was about, but we had to like relay the whole course. Everything that was green over there, I think for yeah,
Everything that was blue was black now, right?
I think it was yellow and green.
Everything that used to be blue is now either green or yellow, depending on which color I define.
Yeah, and so that was the thing where we didn't know why, but we knew that we had to like go with the blows and just solve the problem, and so it worked out nicely.
Cool. Revisions and growth. Motors at this level of materials technology are not dependable at long distances because the tiny tolerances add up to create big problems. So basically our distance sensor or ultrasonic sensor, sometimes it would see things right in front of it, sometimes it wouldn't. Sometimes it would see 255 centimeters in front of it, sometimes it would see 10. And so we had, basically on ours, we got rid of ours because it kept messing up. Let's see here. The engineering moment, we learned that tolerances are a huge factor. So the color sensors, the tolerances were very important. If we set it too high or too low, then it would not work at all. Tracing a line for a short distance would not make the robot face the same way. Basically, the robot's first trip to the drop zone, they would pretty much wreck each other.
So if it went forward and it saw the line like here, but it normally sees it like over here, then it would see the line and then turn and then end up angled like that and go straight like that. But then it's supposed to be going straight that, and so if we didn't have it like go backwards like it did on like the fourth line, then it would go here and then end up going straight as that, which doesn't work out at all. So we had to have it back up and make sure that it went and got to straighten out, and so that was another weird part that we had to deal with. So in the real world, this can obviously be used to like sort things, and then if we were to actually deploy this as like a thing that could be used in the house, it could trace walls instead of lines, because like it follow like the way that a cockroach goes along the walls. It could easily do that. It's just that we didn't want to have to build walls for our thing. And then also speaking between the bots was also a huge thing that I think could be applied in the world.